I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, the podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Corky Shank.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Yeah. Got him. Got him.
Jesse's legacy lives on in every episode that you say
Forever.
that.
It's a great catchphrase.
So thankful.
Though I have fallen into a bit of a wow phase thanks to my other show and life, where everything's like, I'm Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yeah.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little tired, a little subdued, but I'm going to try and bring the energy. It's been one of those Mondays. We're recording on a Monday.
This is a Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So I just don't even know what day it is altogether. There you
Podcast blowing up on a Tuesday.
Exactly.
I just had some green tea from my very cool Peter Aguero mug, so I'm hoping that that's going to kick in. And thanks caffeine, the drug that makes us awake.
Exactly.
But you don't need to be awake. I don't know. I can't do
Good
this.
segue.
I'm bad at
Well
introducing. Listen, I'm super excited, even through my sleepies, to bring on almost like a mythical being to this show, because I've been talking about my very cool, very secret, very like underground acapella group here on the show. Well, I was able to wrangle one such member of this acapella group to corroborate not only that this acapella group is real and that we like whip ass. It is my dear friend, Caisey Robertson. Caisey, welcome to the show. Audience, give them a huge round of applause wherever you are.
It is the actor hired by Rachel to play Caisey Robertson of the group.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no.
No, for real.
We
Thank
have
you.
to do this fiction now. We're in.
My a cappella group from Canada.
My acapella group from Canada.
Yeah, we're real. We are great. Thank you for bringing me on.
We are
Thanks for
happy to
coming
have
on.
you. And we're going to talk about you, what you do, and of course, Choirfly, that for previously mentioned acapella group in just a little bit. But
The very real acapella group that I am in.
that you are. Yeah. I've seen two members of certain POV are in that acapella group, actually. So,
Yep.
Didn't you see us perform a little bit?
I did.
Yeah.
I came by with a friend and my spouse and watched y'all perform live, and it was a lot of fun.
Matt, I got your co-host.
Yeah, you did.
I sing with your co-host.
But we will get to more about that in a little bit. We will, as always, start by talking about the most recent things we've watched. And I haven't done this in a little while, but I do have a bit of a preamble, only because I know Rachel has been flailing for me to watch this, but I have begun the Ted Lasso watch. I'm like 6 episodes in. I love it. It's great. It's nice to see a show being celebrated for just overwhelming kindness and positivity and seeing the best in people.
I love that it's just like, life can be really, really sad, but we don't have to be mean to each other about it.
No.
Ted Lasso.
And so I'm enjoying it. I think Roy Kent is my favorite character. He's a bastard, and it's great.
Oh, just wait. I'm so in love with Roy Kent. Are you kidding me? I'm obsessed.
He's so good. All the actors are really great, but I'm interested. I'm excited to see more. We're only about halfway through the first season.
That sounds about right.
And so I will report more back on that as I complete it. But
oh my gosh,
the show that I've brought to talk about is actually a milestone show that I've mentioned in preambles many a time. But today is the faithful day where I talk about the completed 7-season watch of The West Wing.
Wow.
For those who don't know, and for Caisey for context, at the start of the pandemic, or actually towards the midpoint of the beginning of the pandemic, about November last year, they did a voting special on HBO Max they regathered the cast of The West Wing to do a voting special, and they reenacted on stage an episode from the show. And I'd never seen it. My spouse wanted to watch it, so we watched it. And it was great. Of course it was. And I loved it. And so I was like, hey, Sarah, would you want to watch all of The West Wing with me? I know you've seen it, but I've never seen it. And she got so excited. And so through the rest of the pandemic, up until about a week ago, we've been watching all 7 seasons of The West Wing. And as we've finished it.
And all the amazing ways that the president puts on a jacket.
Yes, that is true. That is one of the many things that happened in that show. But it was great. I mean, like everyone's always said, it is great. It is what, I dream of our democracy to be, and hopefully someday will be again. But like, it does show the imperfections as well. I like the way it depicts Democrats and Republicans, and I want to believe that we can get to that place again. It's hard to know if we ever were in that place because a lot of it is like, rose-colored glasses, especially as we get more involved in politics as adults. But the actors are great. The show is great. I love Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen is great in everything, and of course he's great in this. Everything, and even the newer actors they bring in, like... now I'm blanking on his name, who plays Matt Santos, but like there's a, God, I can't remember the actor's name. It'll come to me. The internet's screaming at me. But anyway.
It's fine. The internet's got you. Our Laura
Jimmy
Straub's
Smits.
got
There it is. Jimmy Smits got it. Comes in as like the
love
young
that.
competitor later on, and like Alan Alda's in it later seasons as well, who's also great. Like it's just an all-star cast. But what's funny is that this all-star cast, a lot of them were starting out at the time. Like Dule Hill is in the show for most of the run, but when he started in the first season, he was he had done some other things, but that was like his first big break, as far as I know.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I bet he was so wee.
He was a baby,
tiny baby.
All of them were Bradley Whitford. Rob
I know
Lowe.
Dule Hill from Psych, so seeing him, I've never seen The West Wing, but in old stuff for The West Wing, I'm like, oh, what a baby.
That's pretty much how it felt. Like I was the same. I knew him from Psych as well, and
Same.
yeah, it's wild. Like, but even actors that I know really well, like Bradley Whitford and Rob Lowe. Like Rob Lowe also looks like a baby. Like this, he probably had done Wayne's World before this, but not much else. And like his career had like an up and down swing and like a back to an upswing, and like it's just the cast was really phenomenal. And like it was special to me also because the person who plays Leo McGarry, John Spencer, my spouse knew, and like he famously passed during the filming of the show, and like so they had to write him out of the show and have him pass in the show. Not write him out of it, but like he passed in the show as well. And like that was extra sentimental, just knowing the connection my spouse had to this actor, and knowing people who knew this actor as well. Like it's one of those things like. She would tell me like there's a lot of that actor in this character, which was kind of cool to hear about. And yeah, the show is just really good. Like it's my favorite kind of TV show because I like dramedies. I like shows that are mostly drama, but like have wisecracking characters and comedy in them. And I think that it's done really well. The later seasons did have episodes that dragged, but I thought that the new actors they brought in really carried it. I think if you have always heard about this show and you've never watched it and you're tired of people saying how great it is, I think it's one of the few shows that I've watched that it warranted it. Now, of course, this watch I think also had weight because I watched it with my spouse, who's really passionate about the show and really liked it and had seen it already. And I think that excitement was a little palpable, but I think still, I'm trying to remember now his name. Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin, is a complicated man and, has a rough and storied past and has, not always been great to work with and has had, a variety of shows, some good and some bad. And I think that regardless of all of that stuff, I think The West Wing is still worth watching, especially if you want to have some faith in politics again and also learn more about politics because I would say probably 99.9% of the show is true in the fact that the measures and the things and how they're passing and stuff with Congress and all of that stuff is all based on our actual system and how it's at least supposed to work. And so I think that kind of education is also really interesting.
Cool. I gotta know what was the most interesting thing you learned about American politics by watching The West Wing.
I would say as depending on how true it is, because it's hard to know because I don't work in American politics, this kind of the politicking of like, I'll give you this if you give me that, like help me with this bill, help me, and Republicans and Democrats trying to work together and like, if you give me this, I'll give you that. Oh, well, I'm going to bury this if you don't do that. And like the backstabbery as well as the camaraderie and strange places. like, I want to believe that kind of stuff can happen again, and in a post-Trump presidency, hopefully it will. It's hard to say at this point with Biden in office as of when we're recording. But, you know, I think it was nice to watch a show that made me feel good about our system, but also see the holes. You know, this was filmed many decades ago at this point now, which is kind of weird to say out loud. And so a lot in the US has changed, and like even people's point of views, like there are some sexist and racist and homophobic stuff that plays into the politics at the time for sure, but it's still frustrating to see now, considering a lot of that stuff hasn't really changed either.
Yeah.
In a lot of places. And so that was kind of frustrating. But all in all, I think that it's an incredible drama worth watching, and if you're looking for something that you want to really dig into, I think it still has the weight that it even had all those years ago when it was airing. Sort of like when we had the McCaws on talking about Sopranos, and the weight that still has too. I think this show is definitely one of those shows, and it does make me curious to watch more Aaron Sorkin stuff. Like I never watched a lot of his shows, and of course I've heard Sports Night is amazing, and a bunch of other shows that he's done. But we'll see. You know, I don't know if I'm ready to dive into another long drama. We are watching, like I said, Ted Lasso now, and we've got a bunch of episodes to get through on that. But all in all, I would still recommend The West Wing, and I would also recommend watching it with someone who enjoys it. If you have someone in your life who enjoys it, make it like appointment TV with them, because I think there's a lot you can get from a good drama experiencing it with other people.
I like that. Yeah, because then you like feed off of each other. What's the name of the president character in this?
President Bartlett.
President Bartlett, thank you. No, Whitmer is the president in Independence Day.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Got it.
I believe so, yes. I believe that's Bill Pullman.
Two presidents you can believe in.
Yeah, exactly.
Just those two, though. I'm sorry. The rest of them,
no thanks.
I
don't know. I like the president in Rick and Morty mostly because it's Keith David.
Oh, yeah, Keith David. But yeah, that's a good president, too.
Yeah.
Fictional presidents. The only presidents that don't need to go to jail.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, and I think also I really liked the ebb and flow. I did get mad at Sarah several times because like there are characters who die over the course of the show, and like one of them is like a really beloved character, and like we watched that episode where that character died without the ability to watch the immediate direct episode right after, and so I went to bed sad, which I'm still mad about a little, I guess. But yeah, no, it's definitely worth watching if you've been thinking about it or on the fence about it. It is all on HBO Max, and is definitely worth the watch.
So, Matt, if you had to sum up The West Wing in just 3 words, and you cannot use the West or Wing to describe it, how would you? How'd you wrap that 7 seasons into 3 paltry little words?
Presidents, politics, powerful.
Ooh, I love an alliteration. Part of me was like walk and talks.
I mean, yes, the walk and talk. I will say by the end of season 7, like the walk and talks get so obvious. But they are captivating regardless. Like having the momentum is really captivating.
I know only 3 things about The West Wing. 1, the jacket. Yeah. The way that the president puts on a jacket. I've seen a supercut of that. Sorkin walk and talks and Allison Janney.
Yes.
A+.
Allison Janney's probably my favorite. And also I'll say that Sarah and I learned that we are CJ Craig and Danny Kincannon from the show. Like our relationship dynamic is their relationship dynamic, which was fun to discover. So yeah, that's The West Wing.
Perfect.
Let's see what giant show I get into next. Probably My Hero Academia, which Sarah apparently wants to watch. So
please, that show sends me to heaven.
I know.
Weekly.
I
New
know.
episodes. I'm just like, yes, these I love them. I love those sweet children. Yeah. I want only good things for every single one of them. Don't get me started.
Well, I will let you know if that actually happens. I will keep you posted.
Gosh, please do, and let me know every second. And let me know who your favorite UA student is, because I need to know these things.
Well, this though is not a show about My Hero Academia. We have a Friends podcast
Yet.
for that. Yet.
It's not about that show yet.
Not yet. But Rachel, what is the most recent thing that you have watched that you have brought to talk about?
Well, I'm incredibly pleased to say that I am back on my bullshit in the worst way, because I brought an animated musical television show.
Amazing.
I mentioned it last episode. I completed season 1 of Netflix's Centaur World. Or as I will continue to reference it, Centaur World. In my head, forever in my head. No joke, today I went to the doctor and got my blood drawn, and I'm very like squicky about needles and stuff, and I was literally singing without realizing that I was singing the lullaby from the beginning of Centaur World that Jesse Mueller sings. Like, let me hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get some realness on this. Okay, so do you miss hearing the sounds of some of Broadway's greatest talents? Do you miss hearing them? Centaur World's got you covered, because we got Jesse Mueller, we got Kimiko Glenn, we got Megan Hilty. Are you kidding me? Like, some of the best voices on Broadway are these weird, gross little centaur creatures, and I cannot explain how much this means to me. The color palette is candy coated. They literally follow a rainbow road to go on an adventure. So the premise of Centaur World is our main character is a horse named Horse, voiced by Kimiko Glenn, and her rider, voiced by Jesse Mueller, are in a great war against a huge evil. And in an attempt to escape, Horse gets transported to a magical world called Centaur World, where every creature is like a half creature, half man thing. Some of them are like birdmen, some of them are like giraffe guys, and one's a llama person, and they all have just utterly ridiculous names. It is as gross as it is whimsical. Some really weird spells that they do are like shooting tiny versions of themselves out of their hooves who instantly have an existential crisis and run away screaming. It is about as buck wild as my brain will get, and I can't believe that it's on TV and that like Jesse Mueller's in it. You know, just like you got like so many characters from Waitress in this, and what is happening? You all signed up for it. It's amazing. Josh Radnor of How I Met Your Mother is in it, and I can't. I need everyone to stop what they're doing and go watch Centaur World, because the music rips. The story is so fun and weird. It's round and colorful, but it's also scary, and like when the drama hits, it hits so hard, because again, remember, there's like this whole war that's happening. You know, it's like it's got such dark theming, but so rainbow candy. It's like it's almost like eating too much sugar, but like not enough that you're uncomfortable, but like enough that you went, I just ate too much sugar. Oops. I love it. It was great. It's a wild ride, and I've been listening to the soundtrack for like ever now. Again, I was singing it to myself in my doctor's appointment today.
How long until that gets thrown on our Choirfly Possible Songs playlist?
I gotta pick the right song. I think.
Can we acapella it?
Maybe. It's probably likely. There's a really good song that Megan Hilty's Wama Wink and Kimiko Glenn's Horse sing together, where they're like a point counterpoint, where like Horse is singing about being brave, like you can be fearless. I've been to war, I fear nothing, you can do that. And then Megan Hilty's Wama Wink is like, we are all fragile things, we could die so easily. And they like sort of sing like point counterpoint. It's really good. Also the Centaur NATO song is really weird, because like there's like this weather pattern called a centornado, and it sings about how it's gonna take you up in it forever, and like Kimiko Glenn is like singing against it. It's doing some really good things musically. Also, there is a character named Glendale, and she is a kleptomaniac. She has a magic portal in her belly, and she just steals stuff, and I'm just like, how dare you? I'm here. You found me. I am Glendale. Oh no.
It sounds pretty wild. I'm guessing, Caisey, like me, you have not seen Centaur World.
I have not seen Centaur World.
Okay.
I'm debating between not watching it and only experiencing it through Rachel explaining it to me, which sounds like a very fun way to experience this show.
Oh, let me tell you about the spell where the one bird centaur can be handsome for 8 seconds. And they like hyper detail the face. It's great. They're having so much fun with the animation and the music. It's not taking itself seriously. It's nice to have a musical where like someone is skeptical of the music and all of it. Like Horse is a battle horse.
The person who's aware they're in a musical.
Yeah, but then like literally in the first episode is also singing. You know, it's just like, it's really great to have cynical still be obeying the rules, you know? Like nothing makes me more sad about modern musicals than like people making the musicals being too cool for musicals. It's like, no. Like if you're gonna play this game of Dungeons and Dragons, you all gotta RP. Like you all gotta do it, or else it's not gonna be fun. Like that was my problem with Schmigadoon. You know, that's moments that have taken me out of modern musicals, even if I love them, like In the Heights. Like, don't be too cool for this, because if you're not gonna be confident in what you are delivering, I can't be confident in the product. You know, it's like having an inexperienced server where you're just like, I don't feel comfortable to like help you because I don't know what you need. And it's kind of like that same feeling where it's just like, I need you to just like own this and live in it. And it's really great to have some really great like musical talents who obviously have made their living in working in art where your emotionality leads you to sing, you know. I thought it was a treat. I'm excited. They left a really cool cliffhanger for a hopeful season 2. So if you don't watch Centaur World because you don't want to watch it, just turn it on in the background and just give it some metrics, please, because I really want a season 2. I'm begging you. Begging you.
Well, it sounds like you've really connected with this, and like it's funny because it does kind of sound like all of the things that you would love in one show.
It feels like that Steven Universe hole for me.
Got it.
You know, it's got that similar like everything is like candy and like silly and la la la, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh right, war kills people and like casualties happen, and it's as serious in moments as it is just like absolutely gonzo off the rails.
I love that.
Yeah.
How would you describe the style of music? Is it show tune-y kind of music, or does it have a genre to it?
It's definitely more show tuney than anything.
Okay.
It's again like very similar to like that Steven Universe where it's like very much like music to push the plot forward. You know, but all really well done, super catchy stuff. Like again, like I said, in my head at the doctor's today, and I finished season 1 like last Thursday, so like that's some staying power. Yeah, so it's definitely living in more of that musical theater sensibility. Like the vocalists obviously are bringing that to the table. Kimiko Glenn can just like wail. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the things that voice can do. Amazing.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you've really connected with this. I hope you get your season 2.
I hope I get my season 2, please. Please. I need to know what happens to this weird herd.
But if you had to wrap up all that is the first season of Centaur World without using the one word Centaur World, because I looked it up and it's one word, how would you describe the show in just 3 words?
Madcap, musical.
You'll get there. I believe in you.
Families.
Okay. Madcap musical.
Because it's
family.
another one of those like found family.
Okay,
I
yeah.
love it. Like
You love a found family. It's
I
true.
love a found family. Obviously, like
Excellent.
I would die for this little herd of weirdos.
I mean, aren't we all just parts of little herds of weirdos? I mean,
Yeah.
realistically.
Oh no, I got it. Here it is. Spells for days.
Spells for days.
That's it. That's the title of one song where they talk about all their magical spells. Where it's like, I've got prehensile eyeballs. I have a portal dimension in my stomach. We can shoot tiny versions of ourselves for our use. It's great. Spells for days.
Excellent.
Wow.
Spells for Daves or Madcap musical family. Just a recap so Case can keep up and put them in the Discord.
Just take that, Case.
Well, now it is time for our incredible guest, Caisey. Caisey, what is the most recent thing that you have watched?
I just finished rewatching Gravity Falls.
Yes.
Which, yeah.
We stand.
Yeah.
We stand.
It's like everything what you described except for like the musical, like in terms of genre. Yeah, I watched it originally, I think, really fast, and I didn't catch a lot of the, like, I was obsessed with the mystery of it and all that, but I binged it so quickly, I didn't, like, stop and think about anything. So I was just like, what's gonna happen next? So I rewatched it, and I went more deep into, like, looking into everything and actually, like, paying attention to what was going on. And I just love it so much. It is so good. It is so, like, I'm just so in love with these little tiny preteens in their, creepy uncle, Grunkle and Grunkles.
Grunkle.
And their
Yeah.
mysteries and the supernatural. And I love it. I love Pacific Northwest-based stories in general. I love supernatural stories. And it's just so good.
Yeah,
And
it's
even
the
makes
perfect
me...
cartoon.
Yeah, it even makes me kind of like the villain. Like,
Yeah.
their villain that's, like, kind of the villain, but then, like, he's not even really in the first season at all. And then he turns out to, like, completely dominate, like, the final arc of it.
Yeah.
So they spend so much time building these characters and focusing on, like, how these characters, like, how the twins work as a team and how they really balance each other out. And before they even get into anything related to, like, solving a mystery, they're like, well, here's some mystery stuff to keep you interested and to keep them with something, give them something to do. But really, we're just here to figure out what these preteens think about growing up and becoming teenagers and what they think about being stuck in this empty kind of town with, like, basically nothing to do except for investigate the creepy stuff that keeps happening.
Yeah. I love that show. Jason Ritter's a friend of mine and is phenomenal in that show, but the whole cast is incredible. Kristen Shaw, of course, the creator who voices like half the cast.
I know.
Yeah, Alex Hirsch.
Alex
I
Hirsch.
was just saying to the acapella group that meme of the TikTok cat that goes, "Here comes the boy. Hello, boy." Alex Hirsch did a version of that as Seuss.
Yes.
And it is literally
Perfect.
what the internet was built for.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, God. I need to see that.
Yeah, I love the cast so much. I mean, what I love about the cast also is that they're so multidimensional. Like, Grunkle Stan seems like a caricature for, like, the first half of the season, maybe more, but then you still find out more, and like you get a lot from Dipper and Mabel pretty early on, but even Wendy and Seuss get more stuff later on. Like, even the villains, like what's the pompadour wielding blonde
Gideon. Gideon.
Like, little Gideon even gets a ton of character development. Like, I really love the time they spend, and like the recurring jokes and like bringing back stuff. I mean, some of my favorite episodes are like the episode with the gnomes. Of course, the growth crystal episode where Dipper tries to be a little taller and then it backfires. Like, it's all really well done. And
The one where they sing the knockoff "Don't Stop Believing."
yeah,
Yes.
yes, it's very good. Yeah, it's just such a well-made show, and like the theme music is of course incredible, and like even the guides that they released later, and they released the actual tome later as a book you could buy. I'll never forget the commercial for that with Kristen Shaw and Jason Ritter dressed as Mabel and Dipper, like freaking out, and it's such a heartwarming show that is so well executed, and like a lot of people scream for another season, and like I can see why you would want it.
No, the story's done.
The story's done. Well, like I can see why you'd want it just because it's a world that is fun to live in, but the story is complete, and I think what makes everything with Grunkle Stan's narrative like feel final and complete in the final episode is because it ends, because you're just left to assume that they just go on living their lives in the same kind of semi-normalcy that they've had since then. You know, there is no secret plot to bring Bill Cipher back. There was no cliffhanger in that second season. It ended, and I think complete seasons like that are so hard to come by.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important thematic element to the piece as in its entirety. Like, we're spending a lot of time talking about the twins Dipper and Mabel, but this is sort of like the summer of the end of their like their youth. They become teenagers.
The core of the whole story is that development. Everything around it is just, it's around it. It's happening because they're experiencing this summer. It's not like they're experiencing this summer, but we're mostly focused on the mystery. It's like, no. All of the mystery stuff is helping to support this story. So once that story's over, like, that's where do you go? Why would you want to keep going?
Right.
Like, it would be a completely different story.
No one wants to stay a 12-year-old forever, you know, like, and I think that's what makes it so beautiful, because it does end, and it does have this like finite element, because that is our youth. Like, our youth is finite. Like, we get older, and we don't stop getting older, and it would be a disservice to the spirit of the piece to add more.
Yeah, I think that the only way this show could come back is if it wasn't a show. If they did like short stories of adventures that happened to take place.
They were thinking about doing a video game as like a proto season 3 sort of style.
Yeah, there have been rumors about a bunch of stuff. I also know that there were comics, I think, that were released, or like there was either a coloring book or a comic or something that was released by by Disney without Alex Hirsch's permission or something. Like, there was some kind of thing that had like more stories, but he didn't write it. I remember him posting about too, and so like that, I think that relationship's a little soured. I think that I would love more from Alex Hirsch that's in this vein, but something else. Even if it's the same in animation style and like show style, but it's not in that area. It's not about those characters. It's not even that kind of mystery. It's a different mystery, maybe like a treasure hunt or something. Like, I think that he's a really great storyteller, and I'd be curious to see his style come to life again in something else.
Yeah. Agreed. What a satisfying mystery, though.
Yes.
You know, it's hard to get a good long puzzle box show going, and it's almost a miracle that this Disney animated series like did it and pretty much wrapped up like all of its loose ends in incredibly satisfying ways.
Yeah. No, yeah, I completely agree. I think the only two shows that I can think of that have done it so expertly is this and The Good Place, are two shows that I feel like wrapped up. And like Mike Schur famously says with The Good Place, like, they didn't know what the ending was when they started, but by the time they got to the end of season 1, they knew where it was going. They knew how it was going to end and that it would end. And I'm pretty sure Alex Hirsch has said something fairly similar, that like, he didn't maybe know where it was going when he first started it, but like pretty much it was always a complete story. It was always going to be about these kids and Grunkle Stan and this mystery, and that was it. And that there wasn't going to be more after it.
It's one of those rare things of like something that's, you know, children's, quote unquote, children's media. Like, it wasn't necessarily made for children. It's on Disney, but like it is made for people who enjoy this kind of story, this kind of media. But it's like stuff that children can watch that isn't episodic, at least not exclusively episodic. You know, each story kind of stands on its own in some ways, but it does have this through line of a story that then amps up for season 2 and then wraps everything up really nicely at the end. Like, I can't really think of a lot of other children-friendly TV shows that have that kind of like, it's either like, well, we restart at the beginning of every single episode and we assume we just assume nothing else happened. Yeah, that's really most of what I can think of, but it's got this very satisfying story with all of this, like, it rewards you for paying attention, it rewards you for watching back multiple times. It's even got the built-in, like, ciphers in the credits and everything, and, like, audio you can play back and listen to. It's like, it keeps unfolding as you get older.
Yeah, completely. I would say the only show that kind of comes close is Steven Universe, but I think it's very apparent that like the first two seasons of Steven Universe are unlike the later ones. Like they're building to it, but it's definitely not the same kind of like kind of steady, complete storytelling. Steven Universe started very kooky and then got kind of serious and then ebbed and flowed. And
the latter parts of Steven Universe are a lot like that, but it took them a while to get there.
Yeah. I think like with a lot of the way animation is produced kind of makes it really difficult unless you have an absolute like set we're making this piece of this many episodes, because like they want to like drop 6 episodes at a time for animation, so it's kind of hard to be like, okay, let's tell an entire focused story about generational trauma and the trans experience, but we can only do it 6 episodes at a time and we can't get too close or they'll just like shut us down, you know? So like Gravity Falls had so much in its favor because it was so focused, you know, like it was allowed to be focused in sort of a landscape where that didn't happen very often. Like you could get very dramatic episodes of Adventure Time, but like Adventure Time didn't really feel like it was going toward any particular ending, and then when it got to the ending it was kind of like, okay, that's a good place to stop, but now they're still producing more Adventure Time, and I'm so excited for the Peppermint Butler prequel movie. Are you kidding me? I want to know everything about Pet Butt.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool based on what we saw in the flashbacks in the second season if there were some like adventures of Grunkle, Stan, and Ford in
that could work.
Like when they were younger. Like I think if they were ever to make any new Gravity Falls, it would have to be that, because there is a lot of untapped storytelling there, which is okay. We're left to wonder, but like that's the only place I see room for like creating more is like a prequel. I don't think that they can do anything post that unless it's way in the future and it's like, you know, Mabel and Dipper are old. I don't know.
It would, you know what it would be? It would be their kids. Like, Mabel and Dipper, you know, they have their you know, the kids that are cousins now, and they go on adventures because that's what everybody does now.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought this show. I think that it's obvious that this show has a lot to offer, and I think if you've been on the fence for a while to watch the show, I highly recommend it. If nothing else, it's very funny. It's very heartwarming. Like, I'll put it this way: if you like Steven Universe and have not watched Gravity Falls, watch Gravity Falls. It is in the same vein. It is up your alley.
Or if you like Twin Peaks,
yes, that too.
Yeah, it is a lot like that.
Yeah, it is. Totally is.
And the jokes are so good.
They're all so good. The timing. I mean, I would believe anything that Kristen Schaal and Jason Ritter tell me. Like the two of them together, their dynamic is so sharp in this show. And like what I love about the show is like even when they make mistakes, no one's ever called an idiot or like the characters may feel stupid or say that they feel stupid, but no one ever like belittles them for the mistakes they've made. They call them out or they bring it to their attention, but it's like it has this kind of healthy dealing with problems kind of narrative too that I appreciate. Not always. Sometimes they have to get to that moral, but I think all in all, the wrap-ups of those episodes tend to feel pretty organic and real in a way that not all other animation is.
Also, if you like dismantling of heteronormative storytelling of the history of places, get involved with that like Northwest family plot. Like, let's go. Great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Mabel's character. I love the dynamic as twins and how like they balance each other out as like they can each be goofy and they can each be really serious and they're both really smart. But like Mabel plays up being this goofy, silly kid and Dipper plays up being like the smart, logical one. But then when they get too into it, the other one plays up theirs to balance it out and kind of pull them out of it. Mm-hmm. And I just love Mabel so much because she like has a grappling hook, saves the day a whole bunch, just has a remarkable ability to solve mysteries and solve problems while also causing a lot of problems, loves to like bedazzle things and glitter and like, but then, she's like, I'm going to put together a puppet show in 3 days and is all like full of, everything's glitter and bedazzling and making these sock puppets, but then is also like pyrotechnics and writing an entire script and like all these things that are also very much not traditionally girly. She like is allowed to be both.
She's complex, and like we've spent a lot of time like toting this phrase like strong female character, but like no, I don't necessarily need like female characters to be strong. Make them complex. Make them both like so self-confident themselves that they'll be like, do you like me? Yes or absolutely. But also go, I'm really nervous about growing up and growing apart from my brother because like we have been together for so long, and like what if our interests change? Like I have a lot of anxiety about that. Like that's complexity. More this, please.
Yeah, I think Mabel and Webigail in the new DuckTales are two of the best representations of if you want to make a female character, a young girl especially, this is the way to do it. They can be ass kickers and also sensitive and also like pink and also like pretty things and also like things that blow up. Like it doesn't have to be one or the other. And in the same way that Dipper is very sensitive and gets upset often and is very in touch with how he feels, like, but he also is really smart and knowledgeable and can be macho. Like the whole, what is it? The bearded like Viking episode. Like
the Mentars.
The Mentars.
There's the Mentars, and then what is it? Dipper versus manliness or something like that.
Yeah.
There's that, and then there's an episode later where he's constantly being picked on by Grunkle Stan, and Grunkle Stan like he later finds out that Stan's like, I'm just trying to like toughen him up because I was, made fun of for being like this weakling. And so I'm being mean, but like it seems cruel and mean, but I'm coming from a good place of like trying to support him and be nice to him. I just don't know how to connect to him emotionally to do that. Yeah. And like him being like all into like how, this is actually a really nice, sweet thing. Like, oh, I like this thing that he's doing for me now. And I'm gonna, now that I understand the emotional core of the action, like, Dipper being like more responsive to the emotional part of it than the manliness part of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. This show knows exactly what it was saying at every moment, and it's clear from start to finish.
Amazing.
So, Caisey,
yeah.
If you had to sum up the incredible show Gravity Falls in just 3 words, without the word gravity or falls, what 3 words would you use to describe it?
3-word phrase or 3 individual words?
3 individual words.
Okay.
But it can be a 3-word sentence.
Sentence like,
it can be a sentence.
Like this
a 3-word
whips
sentence.
ass, or
or it can just be 3 random words that you think go together.
Investigation. See, Pacific Northwest is 2 words, but it's such an important Oregon. I can just Oregon.
Yeah.
Wacky.
Yeah. There we go.
Love it. Perfect. Nailed it. Summed it up for sure.
Summed it up perfectly. Caisey, you're a pro. It's like you've done this before.
I watched y'all do it. I was thinking about it the whole time.
Oh, good.
This is why we put ourselves out there first.
Yeah.
Gives you time to marinate.
Yeah, we only blindside the guest with the final question, which we'll get to later. But I do want to talk to you, Caisey, a little bit about your incredible a cappella group and your singing. So for those who don't know, Caisey, as well as Rachel, of course, are a part of Choirfly, which do nerdy a cappella songs. I've had the pleasure of seeing them perform. They recently performed at a convention. You can find them in most places as Choirfly on socials. Talk a little bit about what that experience is like, especially, Caisey, since I assume people don't always grow up and just go, I want to sing in an a cappella band. You kind of get to the I want to sing part, and I feel like the a cappella band comes later.
Yeah, where you're like,
You have to be eased into the a cappella side of it.
Yeah.
That doesn't, unless you like see, unless someone takes you to like a barbershop quartet when you're young. I feel like those are the people who go, I want to sing in an a cappella group, but everyone else has to come at it through like high school choir or something.
So have you been singing since you were little?
Sort of. I was really shy as a kid, so I didn't sing that much, but I always would like stay in my room and sing very dramatically to myself and act things out to a mirror.
Nice.
And I eventually did choir in high school, and I had a very like competitive director where she like made a jazz band, was like super into having auditions for her like top tier a cappella group, and we went and like did competitions and traveled, and we did I did individual competitions for sight reading and things like that. And so I've always been really musical. And then I was like, I want to be on Broadway. I was doing acting. I was super into all the performing. And I moved to New York City for unrelated reasons and did not go. I mean, halfway through college, I was like, this is very hard. You cannot be a professional performer if you have a chronic illness. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So
wow, just the laundry list of reasons that you can't be an actor. Just like are you able-bodied? No. Oh, are you of a gender binary? Nah. It's tough.
There's a couple big ones where you just go, well, like if I cross this one out, everything else grays.
Oh no.
So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But I
tough
stayed.
Industry.
I still loved singing, and I had been, choirs in high school or a cappella choirs, and so I was mostly used to singing just like with, I was in a jazz choir, and we were a cappella most of the time. And I randomly came across a Facebook ad that like someone in a group I was in was posting about auditions, and I was like, a nerd choir? Okay, well that's definitely up my alley. I joined in early 2017, and it just felt like so much of everything I wanted out of singing. Like, we don't just do music that you think is, oh, that's a cappella music. Like, if you go to an a cappella choir concert, or you like look up all like the college a cappella is really where it's at. Like, those are kind of the best groups. And if you look them up, they're mostly just covering pop songs or doing like all of the Christmas music and all of the like traditional like stuff you'd think of as like traditional a cappella, traditional songs in like old English styles.
Yeah, like
or,
Parting Glass. Stuff like that.
That kind of stuff. And Firefly does a little bit of that. We definitely cover pop music and stuff like that, but we don't also like, we do everything under every single genre, but then we put our own like version of it into it. Like we are rearranging our own music. We're putting together songs that we think are really interesting. And it's just, I mean, of course it's all like nerdy to some degree, it completely spans the range of what you might consider nerdy or niche, but we get to like really explore music in a completely new way that I wouldn't be able to in like any other a cappella group. Everyone else is just like, well, we have to match the song. So we want to match the song so well that you can tell it's this pop song. And we're like, we're just going to make it interesting. Like, you can probably tell it's this pop song because it's recognizable. But if you don't, like, fine, you might get the reference over here instead. I just love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that caught me off guard when I saw y'all perform live is when you did a version of Let It Go, but it was Star Wars themed.
Yes, Let It Go. That's the first parody. The first parody lyrics I overwrote for Firefly. Actually, I wrote those in 2017, and it took up until this past year for them to become an actual song because it just marinated for a while. But what about that threw you off?
Well, it threw me off only because you tell a little story about how this is, you set it up to be a Star Wars song, and you're like, okay, cool, a Star Wars song. I love nerdy Star Wars songs. and then it goes into Let It Go, and I'm like my brain was 3 steps behind for a little bit. It was like, wait, I know this. Why do I know this? What is this? Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. This is amazing. Like, I went through like the stages of song realization.
I'm so pleased to hear that.
They're
I'm so
similar
proud
to
of
the
that
stages
song.
of grief. There's about 5
are.
of them, but they're delightful.
Yeah, exactly. It's all positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I like that you all seem to have, like, it's not just covering songs, which you do. You cover like the theme of Steven Universe, but you also put your own spin on it. And then for things like that song, it's like it's clearly a parody, which, there are only really a few large names in parody, at least. And so it's nice to see smaller bands also doing parodies, because most people think Weird Al when they think of parodies, or like Rachel and I would think of Insane Ian, who also does a ton of parodies. Like, but there aren't a lot of. I can't think of
Parodies can be like clever and like interpretations. Like the word is parody, but a lot of these things, they can also be just full on reinterpretations of the music.
I was
Absolutely.
just watching a really cool video dissecting the chord progression of Olivia Rodrigo's "Good for You," and how like there's been a huge like uprising saying like this is just misery business, but it talks a lot about interpolation, which is taking musical motifs and like rearranging them. Like all of music is just remixed. Like go listen to Rob Paravonian's like Pachelbel's Suite, where it's just like everyth's Pachelbel's canon. Like get over yourself. But interpolation is something that we're also doing, because we're blending musical motifs, because not only are we doing sort of like a straight parody of Let It Go through the lens of Leia Organa, we also have the musical motifs of Star Wars. We've got the love theme in it. The
song starts with that like do 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 do, but like under it is the Frozen da 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 da. Like those are going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Right when you hit the climax of the song, the solo cuts out and Leia's theme starts going. And that's the end of like the song. Like it stops being Let It Go and it starts being Leia's theme, and then they come back together again at the end. And like there's so much good stuff. The whole bridge is like hidden bits of like just lines from the movie, even just like things thrown in there about
You're
that
all
like
clear,
battle.
kid.
Yeah. Red 5 reporting in. Like it's so good that we get to throw. It's so much fun being able to like take this one thing that we love and we think is really cool, and then take this other thing that we love and it's like really like dissect the two and be like, how can we bring these things together in the best possible musical way?
What is the song curation process like? Like I imagine each, because there are. Let me see if I can do the math really quick. There are 6 members of the
There are
band?
6 of us. As of right now, there are 6 of us, yeah.
Yes.
So when I joined, and for the majority of, I think, Choirfly's time, we've been a group of, like, over 10 people. I think at some point we were 16. So a lot of our arrangements were more choral. And I was not part of any of that process. I kind of came in after all of the music had been written and workshopped and performed for a while, so everything was kind of set. And then our director at the time moved away. A bunch of people were moving and, doing things, in a lot of, like, it was a lot of turmoil in the world, and so we kind of dropped down to a much smaller group, and then quarantine hit. Yeah. And we were, like, just starting to, like, get used to our new configuration, and then we went on full, lockdown.
Thanks, Panini.
And Rachel wasn't even part of the group at the time, so we were only 5. So we knew we couldn't perform any of our old music because, if we were lucky, we were going to get a 6th person. We had to cancel auditions that we were going to hold in March of 2020. And we basically threw out everything but took, like, the ideas and, like, took those songs and rearranged them entirely. And a lot of it was just, like, there's a few of us in the group that mostly arrange the music, and it's kind of just like, I had a good idea. I wrote it. Do you want to hear it? And, we're writing it for like 5, maybe 6 people at the time. It was when we wrote Let It Go, that we knew we had to bring in a soprano, a 6th person, because I cannot solo the song and sing soprano, and the song does not work if you don't have someone on soprano. So we were like, okay, this is ideal. We need to bring a 6th person in. And then it's just like, you have an idea, and if you have the ability to arrange it, then go sit down and arrange it, work on it. We have a program we use called flat.io that is amazing. It's wonderful. I love it so much. You can collaborate on music, so like you and other people can work on the music at the same time. One of our songs, it's Crystal Kingdom on a Cloud. It's Crystal Kingdom from the Adventure Zone Balance, the Crystal Kingdom arc. It's that robotic song that plays throughout the course of the arc, mashed up with Castle on a Cloud from Les Miserables. And that was an idea I had like 4 times over, and I at the time didn't arrange music, and it was just like, please someone write this, please someone write this. But like no one else was really motivated. Like they didn't really have it in their head. They didn't really know. So like I sat down and just started playing with it, and then brought in our director who arranges most of our music, and he started messing with it and talking to me about it, and like now it's a full song. So we really don't have a solid process of like how we bring in new music. We're probably going to, now that we're more into like, now that we've done a performance, we did it at AnchorCon up in Clayton, New York, with all of this music that we've written, it tends to be like, what are we all interested in? What sounds really good to all of us? Does anyone have a solid idea of how to write it? Or maybe like, if you don't have the ability to write it, could you consult with someone who does know how to write it and sit in with them on writing it? If, you know, it's like, oh, we need new lyrics. Like, the song is a really good idea, but we don't have parody lyrics for it yet. So write the parody lyrics, and then we'll come into it and see what we can do. And then maybe the lyrics will change a little bit depending on what we've written. But we really just try to focus on stuff that is exciting to all of us. And yeah, and some of it's like out of nowhere weird stuff. We're like, well, I don't know if we could ever fit this in, but we really like it. So we're going to put it in we're going to keep it in the repertoire and just see what we can do with it. And we'll throw it into song. Well, maybe throw it into a set here or there, but we're not totally sure where it fits in, and we'll figure that out. I feel like Rainbird is a little bit in that. That's Rachel's baby.
It's the song I solo. It's about a sprinkler.
It's a love song. It's originally it is our ode to being an a cappella nerd group. Like,
yeah, it's
acapella
our straight cover.
Acapella is nerd. You're a nerd if you like acapella. I'm sorry, you just are.
Yeah.
And it's the Bobs wrote a song, or at least performed a song called Rainbird, where they're like, I want to be Rainbird's a brand of sprinkler. And they're like, I will be your Rainbird. I want to provide this life and this life-giving moisture to you.
And I want to shower you with this life-giving moisture.
And it's actually a very difficult song to perform because it's like very jazzy and fun, and you know, they just sing it straight. It's just barbershop quartet kind of singing. And then we wrote it and we gave it to Rachel, and it is like this super intense emotional, like, it is so much fun. It's so hard to sing that song and not stop singing and just like stare at Rachel as they perform. It's so good.
I just bring that little bit of like weirdo afterbirth monkey flair where it's just like, I'm gonna single someone out.
I'm glad you brought up Afterbirth Monkey, actually, Rachel, because I wanted to ask you, like, so listeners of this show and the Infinity Pod will know that you have 2 incredible albums with Afterbirth Monkey.
We have 2 albums.
They're incredible.
They are incredible.
They're offensive,
those albums were how Choirfly decided to bring you in.
Yeah,
you
Meryl
know,
Streep is from the future got me the gig. So
yeah, we were like,
thanks,
Jeff was like, well, Rachel really wants to audition. They were, you know, on the original audition list, and like they'd be perfect for this. We're like, they're on Spotify. Like, okay, let's go listen. We just listened to Afterbirth Monkey. We're like, bring him in. We want to meet Rachel.
But like you, of course, working with the incredible Mark Robert Turner, previous guest of this show,
my best friend,
and just a human ray of sunshine. But like that obviously is very different from this on some levels, right? Like there's comedy crossover for sure,
yeah.
But like you're writing instrumentation and lyrics there, whereas here you're rearranging. Like, how is that process really different for you? Singing in one versus singing in the other.
I'm the guest now. Well, I really haven't had a lot of hands in the writing of Choirfly stuff. Again, I just joined in January of 2020. I sort of sit on that.
We kind of rushed you through, learn all this music. We have a con in 6 months.
Yeah, learn how many songs? 10?
We're up to 12.
12?
We're at 12, and one of them you solo.
Yeah, learn.
And you have to improv a lot of it. Like,
yeah. But I've had a penchant for mashups. Also in like my solo career, I guess, my like ukulele career in nightlife. So I'll be really excited to sort of like bring that sort of energy into it. But again, writing for Afterbirth Monkey was just sitting with my best friend and like coming up with stupid ideas and then just writing lyrics that made us giggle. You know, we always just kind of followed the silly, which kind of makes our music a little bit more of like the backseat of it. Like we sat down and we commiserated for quite a while that like all of our songs are just those Pachelbel chords, you know, they're like major, major, minor, major, you know, like what is like G, C, A minor, F, you know, like those are just kind of the chords. But like our mission was always the jokes, you know, we wanted to make sure that like these were really catchy, that they would like really like worm their way into your head. So like musical complexity wasn't something we were really focusing on, at least not in like our chord structure. So it's been really interesting to sort of like sit down and like hear Jeff like extrapolate on music theory, or, you know, like I feel like I'm learning so much about a craft that I've just been involved in for so long because I've been in musical theater. You know, I know how to learn a part, you know, I know all of this, but like being able to be on a more musical like expert level, it's been really great to like
kind of getting into the nitty gritty of it. I feel like there's only 6 of us, but all of us come from a completely different, we're all musical, we all come from musical backgrounds of varying expertise levels, I guess, but we all come from different angles, and together we're all like teaching each other things, because there's like the music theory nerds over here able to just like go off on like chord structure and how it works, and then there's the like me over here in the corner where I've mostly just sung the music, I've not written any music, I've never done that, but I've sung it enough to be like, well, this song kind of needs like, well, it's like a Disney princess song, right? So give it like a da 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 kind of ending. Can you make that work? And it's just like, I don't know what that means, but someone who's got music theory background could be like, yes, I know exactly what chords those would be. And yeah, I've definitely learned so much. I've learned enough to start arranging music, like taking songs I've heard and being like, okay, well, I can figure out these notes, and from those notes I can figure out a chord and a key signature, and I can figure out what works and what doesn't from there. And it's just it's neat. It's nice to be able to kind of learn through doing this way.
Yeah, it's also really cool to see actual documentation of your music that isn't just like a note on your phone or like a recording, you know, because that's how Afterbirth Monkey like locked in all our songs. We just like practiced them a bunch, and then we're like, okay, now we have them just like they're in our memory bank.
Yeah.
So it's
there's
really,
only 2 of you.
Yeah, but it's
like,
really cool to like see everyone's part actually like play out in the software, and then just go, I want to know what my part sounds like with the bass line, and then you can just like crank on your part and the bass line in this app, and it's just like, oh, okay, cool, you know. Yep. I think the coolest thing for me is realizing that you can find your notes in everybody else's notes.
Yeah,
That's what's really wild.
Our over quarantine, we were doing Zoom rehearsals, and the way you practice in Zoom rehearsals is someone hits play on flat, everyone else mutes themselves, and that person with headphones on so no one else can hear the music playing sings along with like listening to it and sings their part, and everyone else individually at home sings their part. And so you get to hear your part with that one part, and the next person goes, you get to hear their part with that part, and you single out all these different parts, and so you really learn what everyone's doing at any given moment in a song, which I don't think you usually get I've never done that really before, unless it's been like a really small or really granular group that like makes us all sing for each other that way. But like really you know your part, and you kind of know what fits with your part, but it's not like you're regularly practicing with people who are singing nothing like what you're doing. But, you know, you need to be able to find it no matter what, because you're never going to be able to predict what your performance audio is going to be like.
Yeah, what's the soundboard going to do?
Yeah, like, if you happen to have to stand next to someone whose part you've never heard before, you better be able to sing with them.
Mm-hmm. It just laid some really good foundations for understanding the music intimately.
But yeah, that was going to be like one of my other questions is, to me, who has almost no experience singing other than the very minor bad singing I've done on my own.
No singing is bad singing.
No singing is bad singing.
If you got emotion in it, it's good singing.
Yeah. Are you making
Ethel Merman? There's so many famous people who would be considered bad singers, but if you love doing it, then it's good singing.
It's a joyful noise, and we all want to hear your joyful noises.
Well, my question is, like, to me, I imagine trying to sing along with a cappella is like singing without a safety net. Because often when I sing along to a song, even in karaoke, it's like, well, I have the full song. I can figure out the timing more clearly because it's already blended. But when you're surrounded by the people singing, I guess it would be the same as being surrounded by instruments. But in my head, I'm like, it's more piecemeal. It's more individual. Do you hear it that way, or does it just blend like any other music for you guys?
It depends on which songs, because like I said, we do everything. We have a madrigal where literally no one is singing the same thing at any given moment, and you're not even singing the same words, and only some parts kind of make sense if you hear it with another part, because it's like, I have no idea what the bass is doing. And then I listen to it separately and they're just singing nonsense. But then you sing it with like the alto part and it's like, oh, their lines fit together. And everyone's going up and down and all around the place. And then there's like Foiled, which is a Royals parody. And that one's like, these two people are singing together and these three people are singing together. And then everyone sings together. And then this one person is doing it with these two people backing them up. And that's way more like jumping around without the safety net. You really have to know that everyone's going to be there to catch you when you need to go. And then there's other songs where it's just like we just lock in and we're all supporting each other, and no matter what's going on, we're all like we just get it no matter what. I'm sorry, that was a really unhelpful answer, I'm sure.
No. I mean, it was emphatic and emotional, and that's all I care about.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I really love nerdy bands that take a different route. I also love that it seems like, just speaking to y'all for the brief amount of time that I did, like, you understand that being nerdy just means being a certain extra level of passionate. There's no right or wrong way to be nerdy. Football people can be nerds. Sports people can be nerds.
Absolutely.
Like, anybody,
Do you
can
do
be
you
nerdy
have a
about anything.
hyperfixation? Congratulations, you're a nerd.
If it's even like a lot of nerd stuff now is socially accepted as cool. Like Critical Role has made D&D now a cool thing to do. Like everyone's like, haha, I'm such a nerd, I play D&D. Well, everybody plays D&D now. Like it's this extra level of like, well, you're not a D&D nerd until you run D&D. Like that's now what you have to do to be actually nerdy in that. But like sports is just socially accepted nerddom. And we can still, like, we don't care if we don't have to do only niche nerd stuff. Like, we want to cover the whole range of anything anyone could be a nerd about.
Yeah, because we are people who like comic books and movies and everything, but like at the end of the day, we're music nerds. Yeah. Like, we are passionate about the listening to, the making of, the performing of music. We just went on the road trip up to Clayton, which is about a 6 hour drive.
A 6 hour drive.
And we were tasked with building a road trip playlist, and it is 16 hours.
At last check, yeah. You put a bunch of
we-
music nerds in front. Like, you're just like, here's a Spotify playlist. Add stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so fun because, I mean, I was driving half the time, so I wasn't, like, able to really participate. But, like, hearing everyone be like, oh, this was my song, and, like, sing along, and, like, hearing which songs. Me and the director were driving, so we were sitting in the front kind of, like, mom-dadding this, like, road trip. Like, we were taking alternate roles in this situation of, like, oh, the kids are getting along. How nice is that? But it was also just, like, what songs made everyone stop and listen? What songs made everyone get up and sing? What songs made everyone launch into a conversation about the music and why they chose it, or what actually works with it, or, like, how, like, excited they are about the music? And there's moments where people are like, what's the name of this? I need to write it down. Like, I need to, someone pull up the playlist. I need to figure out what song this is because I really like it. And getting to, like, share that music with each other and hear those conversations going.
Yeah.
It was just so. And then, like, what we're there, stuck in an Airbnb together for, like, 4 days straight. We never left each other's sides. We were always together at all moments. And it was still just, like, constantly, like, bouncing off each other in terms of getting, like, talking about music, talking about our interests. The last day we were there, we're, like, cleaning up the house and everyone's running over to the phone that's attached to the speaker and adding songs and being like, listen to this one next.
Yeah. Ooh, we should figure out this one for, like, if we wanted to arrange it. Here's an idea that I have about it. Like, just getting excited and feeling on fire about creating. Also, the listeners will be glad to know I did get Choirfly to watch Josie and the Pussycats, the greatest movie of the past Forever.
Choice.
It's amazing. I was obsessed with it as a kid, and for a little bit didn't realize it was a movie and thought it was like a band. And I was like, yeah, this is a real band. Like, I was fully prepared to believe that this was a real band.
Amazing. They should be.
It should be.
They really should be. I'm like, they're just so good, and all of the music
It's
is
a
so
good
good.
movie.
And they didn't need to make it that musically interesting, but they
No.
did.
They did.
Sure did. I love it. I think that all music could be benefited from being incorporating more nerdery. Like, if Lil Nas X has proved anything, being a queer nerd just makes your music better. Period. Full stop.
Yeah.
Caisey, thank you so much for joining us.
thank you,
This has
Caisey.
been
Thank you
a
for
delight.
having me.
Thank you for
This has
agreeing
been so
to
fun.
Join us.
This has been so fun.
Before we wrap up and before we ask you our final question, I will ask that you tell folks where they can find you on the internet if you want to be found, and more importantly, where they can find Choirfly on the internet.
I'm boring, but you can find me at YESIAC. It is my first name spelled backwards. It's just everything. And Choirfly is very similar. It's just at Choirfly. I think we're Choirfly NYC at Gmail, but that's the only one that's different. You can find us on Patreon, Choirfly, Patreon.com/Choirfly. That's probably the best place to like find information about us. That's where we post most of updates about our group. We cross-post them places, but that's kind of our main blog. You can read up on us without actually paying anything. If you want to see behind the scenes stuff and some like, seeing us get really excited about music, like you can throw us a couple dollars here or there. We also post really fun bloopers videos of when we were doing Zoom rehearsals. We recorded them and I cut together just like everyone being ridiculous at each other, and we really like them because we're hilarious to ourselves, and it's kind of just the best behind the scenes sneak peek of like how we operate as a group and how ridiculous we are. But we also post like lyrics that are
Without that, how would they know about the metronome?
oh god.
Our sweet
The
metronome.
metronome haunts us. Now you have to give us money on Patreon to know what that is.
What's the metronome? What does that mean? This is
but we
our
also
puzzle
do
box.
we also do behind the scenes like lyrics, music that's in progress. We post any recordings of music that before they go up, or like before we go do a show, we'll try to record something from it. We also have cool merch. We have custom D6s and D20s and enamel pins that are bonuses for signing up on Patreon. But we're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's fun stuff like that. Just goofing off and being our fun, nerdy selves. And we absolutely love chatting with people and getting ideas and hearing what people think about our music. We performed at an a cappella concert with a whole bunch of other New York-based a cappella nerds. And they were just a cappella nerds, though. They weren't like nerds like us. So we got a couple of weird looks at us for our choice of music as they're like up there doing everything pop. And we're like, and now let us sing you a madrigal. And someone afterwards came up and was like, "Oh, I loved that song from Civ 4. I think it's the like title music from Civ 4, Baba Yetu. Might be Civ 5, I don't remember." And it's like this gorgeous choral song that we do. That's like it's the Lord's Prayer translated into Swahili, but it's beautiful. And someone came up to us and I was like, "Oh yeah, I played that song. I love that song." And we're like, "You recognize that song?" And someone once came up to us in a concert and was like, "Oh, that madrigal that you do, that's about Jane from Firefly. I know that song. I know the name of the madrigal itself." And we're just like, this is the coolest thing ever. So we love to talk to people about whatever we're referencing in all of our fun music nerdery.
Amazing. We'll definitely go check all that out. We will include a bunch of that stuff in the show notes as well.
Yeah, please fund our music habit. Thank you.
Yeah, do it.
We'll give you cool stuff.
We do.
Yeah. But again, before we get to the final, we should thank some people.
Yes. Speaking of music, thank you so much to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Rembel. I literally am always so hype to listen to those snippets while editing. Thank you for giving me purpose, John.
Thank you, John. Future eventual guest
Future
of this
guest.
podcast,
When John has something important to share and drop, we'll get John.
Hell yes.
But go ahead and follow John now. Just like go.
Yes. Go check out his stuff.
Watch the music video. It's beautifully animated. Go live that life.
Go do it. We also want to thank, speaking of animation, our incredible show logo by the incredible Katie Bug. Thank you for designing our show art. Whenever you pull up this podcast and see the logo, it is created by that magical human. So thank you.
A perfect creature, indeed. And thank you to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network, speaking of perfect creatures, indeed, for letting us be part of the network. You should go listen to other things on the network. We got podcasts about books. We got podcasts about games. We got podcasts about comic books, which are books, but with more pictures.
Well said.
Do that. Television, also, with his shows. We got shows about shows for days.
Shows about shows about shows about shows.
We got shows for days.
If you want to find out more info on that, you can go to certainpov.com. There we also have a permanent invite link to our Discord server where we talk quite a bit about all those different topics that Rachel just mentioned.
Yeah, and if
and
if you want to be a perfect creature as well, you could rate and review us on your podcatchers, iTunes, that where you can. 5 stars.
Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, a rating and a review really helps more folks to find the show. Also, if you'd like to interact with us individually or together, more importantly, you can go to screen_snark on Twitter. You can also go to screensnarkpod@gmail.com to write us a missive, a suggestion about something we should watch, something we should talk about, a guest we should have.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. And we're on Facebook as well. Pretty much anywhere you can find Screen Snark, we'll be there to hang out with y'all in the internet spaces.
And by we, Matt means Matt.
Mostly me.
Mostly
but
Matt.
That's fine.
Fine.
Rachel handles the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I do.
It's fine.
I'm working on the back end.
But now, before we call it quits here for the day,
Yes.
for the night, for whatever time of day it is by you, Rachel has to ask our
the
guest.
day or night?
Or night. Rachel is going to ask our guest the final question.
I love Hades so much. Caisey, I have to know. This is an important question we ask every guest. In the wild world of television and movie storytelling, we've assembled in our sort of colloquy of humanity some various tropes, some nice little shorthands, some quick little bits of storytelling that are so ubiquitous that you can see them from a mile away. So I gotta know, Caisey, if you could choose one trope from movies or television to instantly and magically be true in your life, what trope would you choose?
You say this like I don't spend way too much time on TV tropes, just like digging through tropes over and over. Oh my God, now I feel like I have to pull the page to find something perfect. What trope could be instantly true in my life? Oh, that's such a hard question.
I know. You could
There's
be
so
something
many
that
good ones.
improves your life or like impedes an
To the
enemy.
detriment of someone else.
Yeah. I'm still living for Secret Worlds, but now I've watched Centaur World and it's like even worse now. Where I'm just like,
Secret Worlds. I'm trying to think of one that won't backfire on me.
Yeah, that's tough.
Literature. One that I can't. Yeah. That's where my brain goes, is like, what won't backfire? What will not become potentially the worst thing ever?
Because you never can be too careful about what you wish for to be true in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
You could have secret worlds, but then what if they're at war?
And you gotta like assemble like a whole army or 5 armies. I don't know. Woof.
What is the word for the trope where you like run into somebody and they just happen to be like the rom-com love of your life situation?
The meet cute.
Meet
The
cute.
meet cute. Yeah, I was thinking of trying to think of something more specific than that, but like meet cute is the general one. But I just really love the meet cute of like you just happen to like collide physically with a person who then is like happens to be entwined in your life forever. I just really love stories like that. And like maybe it's because in the queer New York gender queer in general, like circles, you tend to run in the same circles.
Yeah.
And so like the people you run into know everybody else that you know. And like I just love that like threading of communities and found family. So yeah, definitely a meet cute situation. I'm such a sucker for that kind of like light and adorable rom-com.
Perfect.
Well, I hope you collide with the being of your choice sometime soon.
Yeah.
Physically
only
collide. It always has
Yeah.
to be the physical collision for some
it
reason.
does.
It's that or like your Starbucks order gets mixed up.
No, but you
Yeah. Oh,
you
no.
integrate them and you have a Starbucks and you collide and the Starbucks falls. I was about to do that. Oh, I'm carrying so many lattes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
don't know why
Well,
my meet cute includes me falling like a Mario, but there it
Because
was.
then they catch you.
Exactly. They catch you as you fall like a Mario.
You're my Luigi. Blink, blink.
Well, Caisey, thank you again
Caisey,
for
this has been
joining
a
us.
delight.
This was a blast. Everyone go check out Choirfly. Don't miss it. If they're performing in your area or just doing some cool stuff on the internet, definitely go check it out. I also want to thank, of course, my incredible co-host, the brilliant, talented, stunning, and vivacious Rachel Quirky Shank.
And I want to thank my Spells for Days co-host, Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Shorthand's just never going away,
No,
is it?
it's so much
It's
easier.
just the bit.
I can't.
It's a bit. It's the bit.
The bits.
It's the
The
bit.
bits.
The bits. The bits.
This
the
is a
bits.
fine podcast.
It's a fun podcast. And of course, finally, thank you to our loyal listeners. We would be nothing but screaming into the void without you. So thank you. You make us just feel a little less crazy. We will see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere. Bye-bye.
They make you feel less crazy. They make you feel more.
They participate in the crazy.
Metal to magnet, she will be mine.
Hi, I'm Matt, aka Stormageddon, and I'm the host of CPOV Autographs at certainpov.com. It is a bi-weekly interview series where I interview folks from all over the arts, from writers to comedians to magicians to musicians, even actors, historians, podcasters, pretty much anyone who's willing to chat with me for a little bit. If you like interesting conversations with even more interesting people, go to certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, music is life, and life is good.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.